Hello and welcome to the next episode. Now, we have just integrated Sardinia into the empire, which now will also get urbanized. Meanwhile, the next agendas will be to get out of this war which Hungary started, and then we can prep up the Knights Hospitaller here with the two provinces, or rather these two islands, so they can build them up. And yeah, and we are going to continue building our stuff here in northern Italy. As we investigated, we have 2.2 million residents and 3.9 million peasants in the realm that we can see here. I'm not sure how much Naples has, which we still want to get eventually. However, we are still a bit away from the integration, or rather vassalization, of these guys here. So you can see they have minus 81 score. We can get the military power to plus 10 again, most likely. So that wouldn't be a problem. So we would be at 79. And they would be at 101. So, but that's still 22 points missing, which means we need more economic score. And I do think we are going to get some points when we integrate Styria, which still is supposed to get 2 provinces from Austria in 1508 when the truce expires. Styria is another 57 development. That's pretty good. And we are currently at 70-40. So plus 14 from here. So that's like 10% increase of development from this integration. I think that's worth it. We could also consider to still take Tyrol and Salzburg and also add them to Styria, and maybe Vorarlberg here, but I'm not really sure if I want to right now. I mean, the benefit of Tyrol is, I think, a salt mine. Yes, rock salt, and Salzburg as well. It's also a rock salt mine, and as we know, we are short on salt because of our population. It demands too much stuff, which we do not have. And yeah, what I'm going to do now is expand into commerce a bit. I'm investing into every province here currently, because our commerce is mostly maxed out, as you can see, a 98% throughput. Genoa is also at 100%, and Venice is at 100% as well. I've dumped 100 into these provinces and 10 into all the other provinces, because we need to start buying more and more stuff for our residents. That's food, that's fuel, that's timber, that's raw materials. We are on a deficit with everything, and we need to get it somewhere. And that's going to be our main struggle from now onward, because that's the only thing that's going to hold us back. It's also the reason why I'm interested in being friends with Hungary, because they offer the access to the east, because they also have Poland. But I also want to befriend Castile in the long run, because they have access to the New World, and so everything they can import to Spain can maybe be imported to Italy, to us. Of course, that's a long stretch, but maybe. And also what we need to do eventually is break into the Mamluks here. The rivalry actually has expired, but they are still diplomatically too far away, which probably will change when we get access into Naples, but that's a while away. So let's just continue, get the Styria question solved, and then maybe we can get the Naples question solved. Okay, we have reached 1513, and some important things are going to happen. First of all, we have started constructing the St. Peter's Basilica here. That's going to give us papal influence at these levels, which probably is worth it, considering the fact that we want to get saints as many as possible on our territory here. But also what we're going to do here now is reform our military further. Now, at the end of last episode, or close to the end of the last episode, we finished logistics, which is our second military idea group. And therefore we can do the hybrid military reform, which I want to do now. And we do the enlistment reform. Therefore we are switching out from noble levies into a proper standing army here. And yeah, that's going to be our reform. We're going to need 200, 400 military for this. So we can pick one more military tech here. This one is ahead of time anyway. Pick this one here as well. And we pick the admin tech, and now we are ahead of time there as well. We want to pick a culture. I want to pick culture as the next idea group here, because that's going to mix nicely with the stuff we already have. So like fashion skill here. Prestige is useful. Legitimacy is always useful. Then culture, conversion, resistance, education skill, district, cost for academic. All nice. More diplomatic reputation is good for our empire building here in the HRE. Possible advisors and idea costs always useful. And then last but not least, the institution embracement cost. We don't really care about that one. Heathen either. But the finisher effect of advisors with culture's culture, ruler's culture minus 50%. That's gonna save us some cash as well. But mostly about the first ideas in that group there. So we can switch to the free shooter. Now we go into the early tertiary here. So now we pick... I mean, the next idea group is at 34, so next one after this one. So we can take at least one dip tech here before we are going to start saving up here. And now we do the reforms. So this one. And then we do enlistment as well. Costing 40 loyalty on the nobles, some legitimacy and stability. That's fine though. We are just going to add this one to the mess here. We are going to do this one here, so overlook tenants, abuses. We are currently at 98% freedom, so we are going to lose a few percent again. I think that's fine there for the 15 loyalty that we can get there. And now our... yeah, now our army is going to be restructured into a proper bureaucratic army. If we check it here, we currently have 40,000 feudal levies maximum recruitment target. We do have 74,000 citizen militia, so that's really high. For usually you don't have much citizen militia. Tribal hoods of course nothing, and state army is 150,000, but we can only muster 27k. Enlistment will change this. So first of all, it will make everything a lot cheaper, but also because we are now going into conscription, it will also increase the maximum here. So we have to see how our budget will develop here. But that's something I'm going to observe now over the years. We want to get to like 50,000 army, most likely, so that we get the maximum score here against Naples. Probably around 50k. So that we get closer to devassalization here. We are also integrating Styria. And then we eventually are looking at a war against France. I'm also trying to make claims here on Provence already, but that's seems to be difficult because we got discovered again. Well, we have an interesting choice. The knights actually, and I didn't notice that, do have meritocracy, and they are offering to sell it to us. We would only get 0.1% growth though, but we do have actually the provincial spread requirements fulfilled. We cannot reinvent it yet. We are far away from this actually, because we would like 80% state reach or something. But let's see how much we would get from this, because we do have a lot of modifiers here. So 0.42. in total. So we would need to pay them 20 years with almost 10 per month. So that's 120 per year times 20, 2,400. I mean, that's okay. 2,400 for a full institution that we don't need to rush then. I mean, why not, alright? I think that's a good idea. Oh no, who is deceitful now? Oh, our current leader. Great. At least he will probably die soon. Yeah, meanwhile, our army size is going up here, so we are building more army when we can. However, I think it's now slowly equalizing on a new value, which is around the 50 to 60 force limit. Let's see where it will end in the end. Meanwhile, we are going to do a yield concessions here. And I think I'm also going to do the royal marriage here, just to get the loyalties a little bit higher now. We also are close to 40 state reach now. We are, yes, so a few years and then we are at 40, which means we are going to do more reforms again. Like this one, and this one. 3 over. So we're only going to do 3, but we're also going to do the tax reform here, which is going to bump up our income again. So until then, we are just going to continue because there's not much else to do than building up our realm. Meanwhile, our Styria has been annexed here, which is going to provide pretty necessary raw materials, but also a commoner base here, peasant base. As we can see here, almost 1k per year are emigrating away, probably into the center here. So that's very useful population that we can use in our cities. Although the provinces are far from maxed out, I'm not going to invest into this right now. I'm going to let the auto investor do this. I mean, it's on the other hand, it's a metal mine, right? And we do have a massive shortage on stuff. Yeah, they are super profitable. Maybe I want to invest a bit, but yeah, I'm going to do this carefully because currently I want to save up my money for other things. Wait a second, why is our... Yeah, our army is super expensive now. Plus the 10 we pay for knowledge sharing. Yeah, we have to be careful here now, because we could easily go over our budget. And 24 for army is of course really a lot. But we went to enlistment now. That's the consequence of it. So we have to see that we get our tax base higher, that we get more cash out of our provinces, because the nobility is now paying a lot less for military, and we are not getting these funds. That not really there. So yeah, we have to improve our taxation here somehow, which is 40 state reach at the end. So let's just jump forward and see what we can achieve. Well, 24, and I've decided to go to war with France and asked Spain to help me, and that led to the situation that Naples was on the other side, which is, I think, in our favor, because there was no way that we got the vassalization through. The economic score only went up over time, so we are 83 again, it was 84 between, sometimes 81. I don't think we get it low enough. So what I'm going to do to Naples now is pretty simple. I'm going to take these provinces here and going to feed them to Ragusa afterwards, after this war, so that we can maybe try again to vassalize Naples, and then we can return these provinces. Maybe. That would be ideal if we can make this work. And here in the war against France, we are going to focus only on Provence here. So the goal for this war in the end are these 4 provinces here. At least for now. So it's 20%. I want to make it relatively quick, because everything is very expensive currently, due to the fact that we don't have income anymore. I already reduced the recruitment investment a bit. Hopefully that fixes stuff. But yeah, this is not going to get easier here. Now we're at 30% now. So let's help our friends out. 19%, 28 to 68. And Spain just moved its capital. Interesting. Question is how much war score do we have when Naples is out. So we are going to do this. I think I'm going to do this actually now. So Naples here. We kick you out. You also will give me war reps. There we go. Done. If we can't vassalize Naples afterwards, we could also core them and just take the nationalism here. No, yeah, that gave... We lost a lot of war score through this. So now the question is, can we walk to... We cannot. Which means we have to... Oh, we can't even go there. Why? Oh, because of that fort. Yeah, then let's get it before... I want to save Spain here before they jump out of the war or something. Which, however, means that we have to take these two forts here. Someone is sieging stuff in the east. Well, we can't defend all sides here. Especially not the... That bit is not fortified, so no wonder. And I'm curious how the economic score is... Minus 75 now. So that's not too much. Also... Colombian imports has spawned in Spain. Might still be not enough though. On Naples, so maybe we just finish it the normal way. But, doesn't feel right. Especially because we do now have a 25-year truce with 100% war score, so I don't know. Let's first see what we can achieve after all the war goals, what the economic score will be afterwards. Of course, we are going to increase relations here again, and hopefully that we get an alliance and a royal marriage afterwards again. It was much more unfortunate for them to be on the wrong side here. Come on. Yeah, it's minus 95 now. Might be possible though. Well, I'm going to... maybe that war is actually over soon. Yeah, we are close already. So let's get... Oh, Spain is actually defeating that army there. So that's great. So we are going after this castle so that we have a connection. And we maybe have to split one army into the east here. Just get some war score from battles there. Of course, delays are of siege a bit. Expansion abroad can be finished. We don't need the prestige currently. That's for something when we have to disinherit or something like that. 30% already. 35 to 50. Yeah, this is looking really great. Carcassonne has fallen. Let's finish this one up. And what can we get here? They're running a raid already. Yeah, they are scared from my army here. I can understand this. We have a really big army. But it's also very expensive now. But if we can finish the unification war on Italy with that, that's of course what I really like. So 80%, can we get out? Yes, we can already get out here. So let's get this pillage through. There we go. Want a bit more cash. Can we take something? 39, we can. Let's get these provinces and get out of the war. We are not going to do a royal marriage with them. So instead now we are going to release Provence as a vassal here, because we do not intend to take and own these provinces long term. So vassal state here. Now we go home again. And now we look back at the question of Naples here. So of 74, not great, not terrible, but why did we lose all trust? Wow, we're down to 0 trust from 100 trust. What? Yeah, I guess this means that we are going to annex them the normal way, which means we are going to just pour these ones, ignore the situation, or rather the solution that we anticipated with Ragusa here, and instead we are going to start making claims here. It also means that we do have a problem with Sicily there, but we could consider... Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we have to betray Spain again, eventually, to get Sicily, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. I was hoping that we could vassalize Naples here. Vassalize them, and then we can use return core on Sicily and Spain. But I already expected that this would be impossible. So we have to accept the fact that the Spanish alliance is temporary, and that we have to go after Sicily eventually. So first Naples, then betray Spain again. I mean, we do have, that's a good thing, we do have Hungary here, our best friend. And now we do have a truce until 39, 14 years only. And then we go after them. So for now, I'm going to just jump forward again and prepare the next steps for our peninsula unification here. On our way to wait out the truce with Naples, two things have happened. First of all, Spain got into another war with France again, and now they took part of Sicily. Sicily took part of Naples, which basically only confirms that we are going against Spain. Next. I'm not sure if we are going to do this before we finish off Naples or if we do it afterwards. I'm not sure. I mean, we could also prepare claims here and then just attack already. Not sure right now. Something I'm going to decide, because I'm currently making claims in Naples, so I think I should start on claims in Sicily as well. But what also happened is that Luther has spawned, and now we have to react to him. So we are definitely going to not support them. We are going to silence them, because we are going to stay Catholic. So silence him. And not going to run fully updates, so no need to disturb me with this. We are already in preparation for this. We are going to set up our missionaries that we got to convert the provinces which might flip Protestant here. As you can see, it already starts spreading in the central Germany here. But that's, yeah. Oh, no, we are Korea controller, yeah. So eventually there will be something we have to deal with, probably. And now we're going to start making a spy network here, which we need to make in Spain. So let's see if they discover us or not. And I'm trying to get the next reform through, but doesn't really want to happen here, as you can see here. Only 15 for it, 59 against it still, even though we have 60%. It has to do with the fact that we are not German here. Therefore, they all have a -5 on the approval, which makes things complicated by now. So I do think long term we might not be able to hold the emperorship here. But for the moment, I'm just going to keep what I have. Now, we are not going to renew the royal marriage with Spain for obvious reasons, but yes. And yeah, we are going to finish up Italy here next, and then we can hopefully reduce our military spending further so that we can continue building up here. Meanwhile, we have reached 61% on meritocracy already. So we are going to get this pretty soonish though. Technology cost reduction, corruption reduction, admin efficiency plus 5%. It's all really nice. It won't do much else though, but still good. And I don't think we do have a problem here in regards to in regards to tech costs and in general mana points. However, we plan to do another package of reforms here as soon as we can. Currently, we are running from one crackdown to the other based from events, so we don't get the influence that we need. But we are also not in a hurry here because our corruption is pretty good. So we only had 40% state corruption. This would only go down by like a few percent if the reforms were there. But of course, from the reforms we are going to go up massively. Outside our laws and state reach, the corruption we get is the biggest is from the burghers, of course, because they are at 85%, although they are falling slowly, which is a good thing. Oh no, they're rising again, but they were falling a bit because it's down to 85% and no longer run 90% plus. But we are, of course, going to eventually remove some more privileges and try to get rid of most of them. But it's not urgent, and this is not necessary for our total play. It's more like that we want to be in charge alone. But now I'm going to just jump forward again and keep saving up cash here. Plus 28 is not enough to build all the amenities that we need, but we are going to build the most important ones and keep an eye on our population. Actually, let's check it now that we just annexed a bit here in the south and also Styria, where we are. Census, population. Yeah, we are almost up to 5 million now in peasants, but we also have 3 million, almost 3 million residents by now. Yeah, great. That's what I like. Industry-wise, food deficit has increased further. Salt is still fine. Fiber is a massive problem. Fuel is a massive problem. Raw materials is a massive problem. Yeah. Exotic goods, crazy. Yeah, all of this is... The raw good industry is very unhealthy here. But of course, we are an urbanized country. So that was the plan. Let's see how far we can get. Let's see one more thing here. All commerce is focused on something else currently. Exotics is 8,700 now. Yeah, by the way, there was a very important change. And we lost the rivalry with Mamluks here. So we are improving relations with them so that we can start trading with them properly. That's going to help us tremendously in regards to food and everything else. So maybe Genoa is already trading with Naples. I'm not sure. Yeah, they are doing the food trade here. Tunis and other things. Yeah, fiber, food, fuel is also coming from there. So we are extremely dependent on certain... Ooh, we are going to lose our timber if we go to war with Spain. That's going to hurt. But yeah, that's problems we have to solve eventually. Not right now. So, yeah. Let's wrap up here in the south as soon as we can. Well, here we are in 50-50, and something happened which I didn't expect, and that's pretty simple. We were just taking out the remnants of Naples, and we had to go to war with Tunis because they snagged some provinces here in a war. So when we were at war with Naples, Tunis also declared war, or rather they got declared war by Spain. And so they snagged some provinces, so we had to go to war with Tunis as well. But within that, in the last seconds of this war, something happened, and in fact our king died. And he wasn't a general, he just died randomly. And now our queen has taken over, but not only is she mad and our heir is underage, the bigger problem here is that we have lost emperorship. I didn't notice, that's why I didn't stop immediately. I didn't notice in a second until I noticed like, oh yeah, there is something missing here. And yeah, so basically, what do we do now? Because we lost emperorship, and honestly, the empire isn't looking that healthy. You can see that there is a massive Lutheran side here. Also, due to my decision to enforce Catholicism, which pretty much pushed them into being even more radical, the leagues have formed. And there's a big Catholic league, and there is a relatively small Protestant league for now. However, I do think that the empire is cooked as it is. So I made the decision now, okay, do I stay in the empire and do I try to salvage it? Do I want to go to war with everyone and then maybe restore them to Christianity in the right way? Or do I just ignore it? And I think I made the decision to ignore it. So what I'm going to do here, to be not pulled into any of these kind of conflicts, is I'm going to leave the empire now. It's a tough decision and I wasn't sure if I want to, but now with the fact that I think the empire is not salvageable here, I am leaving the party. And now, as you can see here, a lot of that is gone. So all of Italy is now out of the empire in one big swoop here. But also I'm having troubles with the separatists here, which basically immediately spawned after the war was over, because I already had some provinces, so there was already a rebel faction and so on. Okay, what do I need? Of course, we get this song, of course. So what do we need? We don't know. So let's take this one. Can we recover some loyalties here? Yes, we can. So now we have to move over here before it falls. Hopefully we can be in time. I doubt it though. Maybe we are time. Yeah, we are in time. We got lucky here. Yeah, we're going to... Wait a second. No. Colombian exchange we're not going to buy. But yeah, this is going to be the end of this episode here. Because now we have unified Italy. We got everything we want. Now we have to pacify it. So we are actually going to move the army over... How can we put it here? We can put it here. So let's keep it here in the south, because we know there will be another rebellion eventually. And I'm going to leave the forts for a while as well before I am going to remove them later on. But now we do have everything here under our control. Autonomies are of course terrible. We can also now start stating stuff. So one after the other they will finish up now. And yeah, now we are transitioning into the modus of building all of Italy up. Which means I'm going to go through all provinces to see if there are amenities everywhere. Like, no. Ipinia is, for example, missing. So we can... No. Wrong scope. we're going to also open a city here, just to be with our rules here that we want to urbanize everything. And I think now every province here on Italy has a city. And we are going to have to make a lot of amenities pretty soonish. The quick question is, how will our income develop here? Now that we have unified everything. Of course, they need to be caught first before they can be taxed. So that's something that will happen. Of course, also the autonomies will be relatively high due to new annexation, but also due to nationalism, which we embrace at this time. So we didn't vassalize, annex this region, we just caught it now. I, however, have accepted the Neapolitan culture here. So we got that one resolved. And now the big question is, do we maybe want to also accept Sardinian here? Oh, not Sardinian, Sicilian, I mean. So if we check it here, you can see that there are a lot of provinces. But I do think I'm going to only accept Neapolitan here. And I'm going to ignore Sicilian. Do we have the spot? Yeah, we could accept it though. I mean, that would help us though. We can still remove it later on. So maybe we just accept it for the while, and then like in 100 years when the nationalism is gone, we can remove it again so that it converts faster. Same here with Neapolitan probably. So that we convert everything to North Italian cultures eventually. Yeah. And let's see here. Our trade fleet took a beating in between. But that's fine. Just send this to Berber Coast here again. Oh, we don't have the merchant anymore. Ah, interesting. So yeah, we do need more merchants now. Urgently. What I also did is build garrisons. So that's why we have a lot of things here. So I have queued up garrison level 1 in all of my provinces. So there were a lot of provinces, especially here in the Naples area, which do not have that. So at least level 1 we want, so that we don't have a rebel problem immediately spawning up. And also the garrisons, of course, reduce unrest a bit. So -2, that's useful as well. Something I want to use. But now here we are going to pretty much make a cut. And before we end it, let's investigate what we currently own. So we take all provinces here. And we are going to do a census again. Last time we were at, I think, 2.2 million residents. So let's see where we are this time. We went up to almost 6 million peasants in our Italy. And we do have 3.6 residents by now. So that can go up further. And it will go up further. We can see here that's 12k inward movement. Natural change has slowed down a bit. But that will change on its own. So we're almost at 10 million now. And that will go up quickly now. I also want to point out that the next institution, which is on the way currently, so Colombian Exchange here, which is already present in the south, spreading northward quickly, but also spreading from the west here. That one is going to get us new crops, but it also will get us population growth bonuses for cities. So resident population growth increases by 2.5%. That's actually quite a lot. And we are going to see an effect from this. So our rural population will only get 0.5%, which is still a bit, but the main effect will be the residents here. The urban, the rural skills trade skill is nice, herding skill and exotic skill will probably be not worth it at all for us here, due to the fact that we are pretty quickly going to max out our rural farmland and so on. So that's gonna be very quick. Scientific method will spawn in relatively soonish actually. So we are getting closer to this one. Admin Tech 37 already, so that's like very close. And so all the institutions here are pretty packed now. And yeah, we're going to continue. Of course, scientific method will push our cities into overdrive here. But until then, we are going to jump into the next episode where we are going to urbanize Italy pretty hard now. So, leave a like and subscribe and see you in the next episode, where we're going to continue our toll campaign here.